I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honors unto the apostles and elders, the great millstone, and say peace, mercy, and blessings to the hopeful elect. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, which means he exists or he is to be. The true name of the Son is Yahushai, which means he is the deliverer. We are the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians. We're those people that make up the 12 tribes of Israel, lost 12 tribes, the self-proclaimed white man, Caucasians, Europeans. They are Esau, Edom, so-called Ish people. They are Amalek, and they are the end of the world. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Okay. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, which means he exists or he is to be. The true name of the Son is Yahushua, who the world might ignorantly call God, and Jesus Christ or Jehovah and Yahshua. But those names are wrong. We're coming back to the Paleo-Hebrew, the ancient Hebrew, and we're calling upon the true names. As prophecy says, in the land of the captivity, they shall remember themselves and think upon my name. Okay, this is a video from Goshen Prepping. It says the end of our economy, prepare for the crash. So it's a good video, in about 12, 13 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. It's a good watch, good information. So I had, cut a portion of it just for this lesson, which I'm going to play, and I'll bring out some precepts. I pray that this be edifying.
And most preppers think that living out in the boonies will save their butt. And honestly, it might. Preppers think that being self-sufficient, growing your own garden, will save their butt. And honestly, it might. And of course, there's expatriates, preppers who've moved to other countries to get away from this because they know it's coming. They think that's going to save their butt. And it might. But I want you to understand, you cannot have this false hope based on it might, because it very well might not. Because in the Great Depression, I forgot the percentage, but something like 25% or 50% of the people lived in the cities. I'm sure people know these, stats. Put them in the comments below.
Right, and I just did a
left the cities to live out in the country.
Let me pause it. I just did a quick Google search on that, and you see what I found. During the Great Depression, how many people lived in the city, right? This is from the AI overview. According to the 1930 census, around 50% of the U.S. population, or roughly 65 million people, lived in small cities and rural areas. During the Great Depression, all right, meaning a significant portion of the population did not reside in large metropolitan cities at the time, okay? So during that time, during the Great Depression, a lot of people, owned on or lived on their own land. All right, and only half, the other 50% lived in cities, which we know when the economic collapse happens, when the dollar crashes, when shit hits the fan, it's just a fact that the city is going to be the worst possible place you can be. Okay, and the reason for that is because everybody is packed on top of each other like sardines, apartment complexes, things of that nature. Okay, and then let's get that. The Lord said, I believe that's 24 and 12, right? This is Matthew 24 and verse 12, yes. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Okay? Definition for cold, Strong's 5594.
Strong's G 5594. Psucho.
Or psycho. Metaphorically of waning love. Okay? Short for psychopath. Says a morally irresponsible person considered as mentally deranged, one who obeys his impulses regardless of social codes. Okay, and that's what you're gonna have out here. You're gonna have mentally deranged people. Okay, going off impulse. Okay, the need to eat. You know, and amongst other urges. You know, definition of psycho: an unstable and aggressive person exhibiting unstable and aggressive behavior. Mentally deranged. All right, a person who is mentally or emotionally unsound or unstable, especially in a way that results in dangerous or violent behavior. So people are going to be in a psycho spirit towards uh, uh, one another. The love of many is going to wax cold. People's not going to have love for one another. All right, when people need to feed their family, people are stacked on top of each other like sardines, and you might smell food from your next door apartment. It's just going to get real violent. You know, key points about city life during the Great Depression: Hoovervilles. Many homeless people during the Great Depression lived in makeshift camps called Hoovervilles on the outskirts of cities, often near rivers, for access to water. See, now with the chemtrails, with the different pollution, things of that nature, you can't just go to a river and drink the water. You need a goddamn life straw, which is why people are prepping. They're getting all this survival gear. You can't just hunt, things like you might have been able to do back during the Great Depression. Get the water right out the river, bathe yourselves, maybe hunt for some deer, things of that nature. You know, urban hardship. City dwellers face significant challenges like unemployment. People feel shit ain't even happened yet, but people are facing mass layoffs. A lot of women, men, mass layoffs, unemployment, unable to find a job. You see the videos. People are bugging out online. Now they call it crashing out. People are online crashing out because they can't find work, because they can't make ends meet, because they can't pay their bills, right? And limited access to basic necessities due to the economic crisis. Soup kitchens. Larger cities sometimes provide soup kitchens to feed the hungry. Ain't gonna be no soup kitchens, man. All right, when this shit happens, they might tell you it's a soup kitchen or it's a place to eat, but then you go down there to get access to the food, you're gonna have to take the haragma, which is the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, the rice device. Okay, so now let's put in how many people live in the cities versus rural 2025, right? According to current projections, this is the AI overview, around 58% of the world's population is expected to live in urban areas by 2025. Let me see. In 2025, 82.8% of the U.S. population is projected to live in urban areas. Okay, so during the Great Depression, it was about 50 and 50. Now it's about 82 and some change and 17 and some change. So the majority of people have been pushed to live in the cities. All right, meaning they're renting. A lot of people don't own homes. And if you do own homes, you're still in the neighborhood with neighbors. Right? In 2025, 82.8% of U.S. population is projected to live in urban areas, while the remaining 17.2% will live in rural areas. The U.S. population in 2025 is projected to be, the Census Bureau defines an urban area as having at least 5,000 or 2,000 housing units. The U.S. has become more urbanized since the Industrial Revolution. The rate of urbanization has decreased, but more people are still moving to urban areas. The World Bank projects that the world's urban population will more than double by 2050, right? Trying to push everybody into the city and ultimately turn these cities into smart cities, right? The U.S. has many urban areas with populations over 100,000, with New York City being the largest. So a lot of people don't live on or in rural areas on their own land, things of that nature. Okay, so we know it's a fact that when shit happens this time, it's gonna be far, far worse.
Where you and I live, they went out to the middle of nowhere. They went to other countries where you and I live to escape from this. And that's what made me think, because I loved traveling through Canada. It was just a very relaxing, fun time getting away from this fast-paced America. But if
And that's what the recent trend in the world, even going back to passport bros, everybody's saying the same thing. Once you get out of America, you feel more relaxed, you feel more happy, you're not as stressed. You know, being just in this country, which America means bitter. It's very stressful. It's a stressful environment going to work. You're around these different people, spirits. Everybody's depressed, stressed out, upset. They're in a real fucked up state of mind. But once you leave this place, it's like you can actually breathe again. The air is clearer, the food is better. You know, so a lot of people is on their spirit to leave. You know,
you're a person living in one of these small towns in Canada and you think, well, I'm away from America, it's not going to affect me. You're absolutely wrong. This is going to affect every single person when the economy crashes. And listen, this is not 1929, where the British was a reserve currency. This is our modern times where America is a reserve currency and everybody's connected. The world was not becoming smaller like 1929. The world is small. Everything is connected. Everything's connected electronically through commerce. And so when this crashes, this ripple effect across the world is going to be absolutely nothing less than catastrophic. Because what happens is, when the economy crashes, you may be good, you may actually be self-sufficient and live in the boonies. But 95% of your neighbors who live out there do not. And those 95% of neighbors are going to get hungry, and they're going to get desperate, and they're going to be looking for food.
exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen, man. The people that you got it. You've been prepping. Good job. But guess what? There's people coming, man. All right. There's people coming. This is 2nd Edges 15. I'm gonna jump around in this chapter. 2nd Edges 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, said Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the Heavenly Father is the one who puts the words in the mouth of the prophets. But he also goes and sends his prophets to the people to tell them what thus said the Lord, and to give them warning so they can repent, examine themselves, find mercy, hopefully find mercy before, the day of the Lord comes, man, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. He also told them to write them down, which is why many prophets had what? Scribes with them. I believe Matthew, amongst the 12 apostles, when they were together, was asked to scribe, Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, right? Because many people, they don't believe what we're saying. They don't like us. They want to kill us. They call us crazy. We're wearing dresses. All manner of shit they say. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. 5. Behold, said the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, and that's going to come in the form of war. We all seen the shouting match or the argument with Zelensky, J.D. Vance, and Trump. What did he tell Trump? He said, during war, we all have problems. He said, you don't feel it because you got the water, the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, that divides you from Europe, Russia, China, India, Iran, and all these other nations. Okay, but he said, but you will feel it. And Trump got pissed off. So that's war. Trump told him you're playing with World War III. All right, famine, which that's starvation. Okay, death, pestilence. All right, and destruction, nuclear destruction. All of these things are coming. 6. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Yeah, transhumanism, transgenderism, feminism, disorder in marriages, unruly children, blasphemy, all manner of disrespect towards the Most High, his creation, destroying the earth, all of that. That's what's in the world right now. Men shall be lovers of themselves, OnlyFans, adultery, homosexuality. This has exceedingly polluted the whole world, and it all came from the cup of Babylon, which is why the Lord's going to destroy this place. 2 Ezra 15 and verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right? He's talking about how he went to Canada, he went to Niagara Falls. So it's gonna come a time to where people are gonna get stuck in America. They're gonna want to leave so bad they're not gonna be able to. Hell, within your city, there's other towns and cities you might desire to go into. Either your wife or your kids may be there, and you won't be able to because they're gonna shut it down. You know, it's gonna be checkpoints. You know, they're gonna besiege the city. You know, it might be quarantined, blocked off, whatever. You know, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled with what? Violence, extreme violence, from economic collapse, from pestilence, from wars. You know, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right? Because it's going to tell you at 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Right? But shall destroy their houses with the sword. There's these different militias, gangs. All right? And which that's human nature. Look at down there Haiti. Those gangs are pretty much running the island because the government has collapsed. So when this shit happens, people are going to get together. They're going to form gangs, cliques, and they're going to do what they got to do. They're going to go through. They're going to be like the Vikings out here, man. Pillaging, graping, taking people's shit. Watch The Walking Dead. You had the Savers or Negan. All right? Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. You know, it's what he's going into.
Through you. And I mean, maybe you haven't let people know you're a prepper. That's a good thing, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be going everywhere looking food because understand in the Great Depression, that's exactly what they did. You know, you even see like movies today where they stole people's chickens and such. Living out in the country is not going to make you exempt from what's happening. You need to be ready because hunger leads to starvation, which leads to desperation, which leads to violence, which comes to your front door.
And that's what's going to happen. All right? That's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to have people going, just like the scripture said, man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but they're going to go in the door. All right? Which is what in the book of Isaiah it says, you know, let's get that. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 24 and verse, I'll just right to the point, I'll go to 10. The city of confusion is broken down. That's Babylon. It's going to be broken down. A major part of the breakdown is going to happen during the economic collapse. Because that's when everybody's going to be like chickens with their hair cut off, running around, not knowing what to do. People are going to be looking for answers. You know, people are going to be going up to their pastors. All right? Every house is shut up that no man may come in. Right? There's a crying for wine in the streets. People are going to want answers. People are going to want, you know, to find meaning, understand why this is happening, how do I get out of it, right? During that time, it'll be most likely be a famine of the word. You won't be able to seek out the men of the Lord to get the answers you want. So people are going to go to their pastors, and they're going to get so pissed off, and they're going to end up putting their pastors to death, you know? All joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. We see that happening right now. People are not happy. They're not enjoying life. People are miserable. All right? Everybody's bitter and fucking miserable here.
I don't care if you live in America, in the boonies, in Canada, third world country, Britain. I don't care. This is going to be far-reaching effects absolutely everywhere. And we have to be ready for this. Because this is not 1929. This is our modern times. But keep this in mind. The last note for you. What happened in 1929 when the market crashed? They went 10 years of this starvation, and then what happened? That desperation led to World War II. I mean, people say it was actually pushed that way, and it was actually orchestrated to make that happen. It doesn't matter because the results are still the same. We're going to have to deal with this absolute chaos that's coming because of this. And again, it is coming. Our economy is unsustainable, and it's going to crash. And when it does, no matter where you are, it's going to take you and me with it. So we have to prepare, not simply just stockpiling food, but physically fit, self-defense, diversion techniques, all kinds of things happening. This is why I have my dojo too, by the way. It's all about getting ready for.
None of that's going to save you unless you're part of the Most High's elect. Nevertheless, this place is going down, and everybody can feel it, and everybody can see it. This is Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, said Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, right? And the fish gate was obviously, near the ports, because back then you got to remember they had professions such as fishermen, carpenters, and even today, if you look at such professions, they're very lucrative, meaning you can make a very good living. You're a carpenter, you're a fisherman, So that was like a wealthy part of the city. So nowadays you can look at like a stock market, Wall Street, if you will, and then howling from the second and a great crashing from the hills, meaning this shit's gonna crash. The economy's going to collapse. 11. How you inhabitants of Mektesh, for the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. And that reminds me of James. This is James 5. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you, right? Because the riches will not be able to deliver you in the day of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Your riches will become worthless. Okay? Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasure together for the last days, right? Whatever you've been doing, prepping, building deep underground military bunkers, bases, fallout, shelters, stacking up all this money in the bank, putting your money in gold and silver and crypto. None of that's going to help, 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, and that's the Israelites. We're the laborers. Esau does all manner of fraud and robbery against our people. We're the prey that departed or not. Cried, and the cries of them which have reaped, right? And that's the Israelites. All right, we're crying for the oppression, are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, meaning Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, the Lord of armies. Okay, the Lord of armies. In Job it says, every hand of the wicked, that the word there means sufferer or a laborer. So pretty much the working class, the slaves. It also says in Isaiah that Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. So this is Zephaniah 1 and 10 in the Bible Hub, right? You hit study. On that day declares the day of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. This phrase refers to the day of the Lord, a common theme in prophetic literature, indicating a time of divine intervention and judgment. This day of reckoning for sin and rebellion against the Most High. The phrase declares the Lord emphasizes the authority and certainty of the prophecy, underscoring that these events are divinely ordained. The day of the Lord is a recurring theme in OT, seen in books like Joel and Amos, and it often foreshadows the final judgment described in the New Testament, particularly in Revelation. A cry will go up from the fish gate. The fish gate was one of the gates of Jerusalem, likely located on the northern wall of the city. It was named for its proximity to the fish market, where fish from the Mediterranean Sea were brought in. The mention of a cry suggests impending disaster or invasion as gates. And we can't forget that, how this year started. It started with all manner of tea attacks and chaos. As gates were critical points of defense, historically the fish gate was a site of significant activity in commerce, making it a strategic target during sieges. The cry from the fish gate symbolizes the beginning of calamity and the vulnerability of the city. And this is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly and is not walled like ancient cities were, A well from the second district. The second district, or the second quarter, refers to a part of Jerusalem that was likely an expansion of the city. It may have been an area inhabited by the wealthier citizens or officials. The wailing indicates widespread distress and mourning, suggesting that the judgment affects all social strata. This reflects the comprehensive nature of the divine judgment, sparing no part of society. The wailing echoes the lamentations found in other prophetic books, such as Jeremiah, where the people sorrow in response to the consequences of their sin, and a loud crashing from the hills. The hills surrounding Jerusalem were significant both strategically and symbolically. They provided natural defense and were often associated with places of worship, both legitimate and idolatrous. And the hills can also, or mountains, can mean government. But in this case, you can apply that to, the stock market and, the loud crashing, right? Because right, if you look at the graph, it kind of looks like hills, you know. It says loud crashing implies destruction, possibly from invading forces or divine intervention. The invading forces, which this country is invaded by sleeper cells, etc. But Joel 2 talks about a great army, but it's symbolically speaking about the nuclear missiles, or divine intervention. This imagery of crashing and destruction is consistent with other prophetic warnings of judgment, such as those found in Isaiah and Ezekiel. The hill's destruction signifies the collapse of a false security and the futility of relying on anything other than the Most High for protection. These people rely on their money, they rely on their guns, they rely on their goods, right? This is Ezekiel 7:3. Now is the end come upon thee, and I will send my anger upon thee, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and recompense upon thee all thine abominations. 4. And my eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thine abominations shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Thus said the Lord, power, and evil only evil behold is come, and end is come. The end is come, and watch it for thee. Behold, it is come, and we're definitely at the area. We're definitely at the end, and we won't be here another 1,000 years. That's bullshit, 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and people gonna actually do this with their paper money once they realize how worthless it is. It's gonna be used for nothing but fire, tinder to keep warm at a fire, and toilet paper, whatever else they use it for. But they won't be able to use it to get themselves out of judgment or to do any try to spying or selling. And their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity, right? Now the hopeful elect, the Most High is going to take care of his elect, his servants during this time, man. Men and women, children, friends of the prophets, things of that nature. Most High is going to make sure they're okay. It's Isaiah 33:16. He shall dwell on high. His place of defense shall be the munitions of rocks. Bread shall be given him. His waters shall be sure. So while people are looting stores, running up in other people's homes, and, in that spirit of, a spirit of a complete cycle, the elect of the Most High is going to be guided, protected. They're going to see miracles. The Most High is going to, manifest angels to help protect them. All of that, man. This is Job chapter 5. Job 5:19. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. And that's the nuclear destruction. 20. And famine He shall redeem thee from death. That's what's coming. That's what's here. And in war from the power of the sword, World War III, martial law, right? Your neighbor, etc. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction, famine, thou shalt laugh, right? Because that's the day the men of the Lord are looking for, man. Because they understand that with Esau being the end, Jacob is the beginning, you know. Neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the field. Because you got to think about the lions, tigers, bears that's going to be out here. They're going to be hungry too, you know. For thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation, and shall not sin. You know, so with that, I pray this has been edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You know, give again double honors to Apostle and Elders, the great millstone, to the hopeful elect, Shalom.